Fencing, a martial art and a sport, two sides of the same coin, a skill set that was learned for being a good swordsman, to survive a combat with a sharp steel or to show superiority over the opponent, trained for self-defense, for a duel and for war, for honor, for money, for sport or for strengthening the character, for a good cause and for a bad one. For centuries, it evolved according to change of weapons and historical context. Nowadays, we can see a modern fencing, both Olympic and HEMA, with our own eyes. It can be a beautiful art with impressive skills, or something that confuses us because of double hits and playing with the rules. But was the historical fencing really totally different from a modern sport? It's true. People had different purposes of fighting and used different weapons, as well as different types of protections. They used different terms and languages. They had different backgrounds, different approaches of masters and different styles of fighting. Not mentioning that the modern fencing is used in much safer context. But what we do share with our ancestors is a conception that there exists some kind of rules of effective fencing, and they are more important than a brute strength or simple speed. Some of them were written down in manuscripts, and some of them are still being taught. But what are they, and how to define them? Well, let's start with naming and understanding fencing actions. For a novice who fights for the first time, duel can be a real chaos. So many possibilities, so much information and risk, too many decisions to make in a split of seconds. What to do, when to act, how to avoid a mistake. All those answers seems to be hidden like a branches under the leaves. But if we look through the leaves, thanks to hundreds years of experience, we will find what we are looking for. An idea of timeless concept, the tree of fencing actions in their tactical terms. Creating it, we based on the works of a great Polish modern master of fencing, late Professor Zbigniew Czajkowski. We have also used a fencing manuscripts and our own experience. You can use this knowledge for becoming a better fencer, teacher, or for better understanding of historical sources. Let's start with the principles. There are two main phases of every fight. The first one is a preparation phase, when we gain information and prepare our actions. Then a real fencing actions, which leads us to victory or defeat. A lot of fencers forget that the first phase is generally crucial for the success in the second one. After preparation phase, which can be very short or very long, a real fight begins. Here, our tree splits into three main actions. Offensive actions, thanks to which we can hit, score a point, or make a wound. Counter-offensive actions, when we defend and hit an attacking opponent in the same moment. And defensive actions, that protects us from being hit. There is also a fourth branch, forbidden in a modern Olympic fencing, but used in HEMA. A close combat, where not only a blade is used for winning a fight. Let's take a closer look at each of them. Firstly, the most important toolkit, offensive actions. These are actions of the swordsman who took over, regained or maintained the initiative. We can make them by cut, thrust or slice. Let's start with the attack, which generally can be simple or compound. Simple attacks hit in one motion. The compound attacks needs more than one move of the blade. We can make them by feint and disengage the opponent's parry, as well as by various kinds of actions at the opponent's blade, like binding or beating it before our attack. The renewal offensive actions. We use them when our first attack was not succeeded and the defender didn't regain the initiative, or if we want to dominate him with instant afterblow. Then riposts, offensive actions made after successful defense. We can speak of one tactical action, which is parry riposte. Just like the attack, riposte can be simple or compound. Another offensive actions are counter ripostes. There are offensive actions made after successful parrying the opponent's riposte. Complicated? Not really. Attack, parry riposte, counter riposte. As the attacker, we can make one successful counter riposte, or quite a lot of them. Then, mysterious counter time. What is it? That's an action of the first attacker who needs to deal with the counter attack from the opponent. Let's see it again step by step. Fencer A hits, Fencer B makes counter attack into the attack. Fencer A doesn't want to be hit with this action, so he makes a counter time. He starts the attack, deals with the counter attack, and safely hits the opponent. So whenever your opponent doesn't want to attack first, or doesn't want to defend by a parry, and is always attacking directly into your attack, you can win by using the counter time. These were the offensive actions. Now, let's take a closer look at counter-offensive actions. Here, the counter-attack is the most important. By many masters, it is considered a jewel of the art. The idea of counter-attack is to hit the opponent during his own attack, because in this moment, it's almost impossible for him to change the intention or defend himself. We can speak of an attack in a tempo, which is exactly a moment when opponent is starting his attack or starting his preparation. Of course, counterattack has to be made in a way that defends us from the initial attack. We can do it by opposition, by derailment of the opponent's attack on our blade, by a stop hit, and by all types of evasions. The other way of defending and attacking in one motion is to hold the line, like a picking. We can speak of point in line. We may hope that the charge of the opponent will follow you, but remember that this is a better way to keep your opponent away from you. A smart fencer will not jump at the point targeted at him. He would probably beat it away, and that's what is a good fencer looking for. Now let's get to defensive actions. In many languages, fencing originally meant defense. So a parry is one of the simplest and most important actions in fencing. But don't be fooled, it's not easy to do a good parry. It requires a technique, bravery, good distance, and instant riposte. Otherwise, it's dangerous both in historical and sport context. There are different types of parries, of which we will speak in upcoming episodes. The other way to defend is to make a dodge, which means you should move away the part of your body that is in danger. You can withdraw your leg or hand, or make dodge up, down, or to the side. But remember, it's most effective when used with counter-attack. And of course, you can defend yourself by increasing a distance, especially when you are surprised or you want to lure your opponent into a trap. Now, as for close combat, a historical fencer had a wide variety of actions once the blades are crossed: wrestling, hitting, kicking, or fighting on the ground. Anything to prevail, and that was an important part of the art, especially in self-defense. That was the tree of fencing actions, the art of fencing, both modern and historical, both European and worldwide. You will find it in the Olympic Games, HEMA tournaments, Asian martial arts, and historical sources. In the upcoming episodes, we will take a closer look at each of these actions and present you the principles by which they are effective. If you like our work, please support us on Patreon. Thanks for watching, and to the next meeting.